What is a credit union? It's a cooperative, like a food co-op or a housing co-op, but the members share money. Credit unions offer the same services you'll find in a bank, but they're different from banks. First, credit unions are owned by their members, and credit unions are not for profit. Any money the credit union makes goes right back to the members in the form of low fees and good rates. To learn more, you can go to STCU's blog at stcumoney.org.
Spokane listens when business talks. Welcome to Business Talks, the region's only local business radio talk show with your host, Ryan McNeese. Business Talks is brought to you by STCU. Now, let's get down to business with Business Talks.
Welcome to Business Talks. This is Ryan McNeese, and I am very fortunate today to have Jimmy Lowe from Brothers Office Pizza. They have locations both in Liberty Lake and the Spokane Valley. And why I am so fascinated to have you here today is I've obviously had the opportunity on several occasions to be in the Brothers Office location in the Spokane Valley. You're doing something different. I want to get that out right now on Business Talks, because what I am interested in for our listeners is how you're doing something different with your organization. And let's talk a little bit about that. You've created a culture, really, that I think folks in the Valley, South Valley, if you will, and I think you're doing this in Liberty Lake now, are showing up to Brothers Office for great food, great drinks, etc., but for a culture. Tell me about how that came to be.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, we are very fortunate that we are in two wonderful neighborhoods. So we are very thankful. And the goal behind this, the first restaurant that we started about 2.5 years ago in the South Valley, Spokane Valley, was because you continue to drive down 32nd. You're in a pocket neighborhood with quite a few people with very few options to travel to. So you have a lot of people who continue to leave the neighborhood every day.
Well, you'd have to at least go all the way to Sprague, if not beyond or downtown. So you're right. Yeah. You've brought your restaurant all the way out to 32nd into, as you said, a pocket neighborhood there with University High School,
Central Valley. Yeah, we're lucky. We're in between two very great high schools. We have a lot of young families, a lot of established families as well. So we feel like what we're trying to do is generate a place where people can come and feel like it's just as much theirs as it is ours. And at the end of the day, if people walk into the restaurant and they feel like they own this place just as much as we do, then I think we've kind of done a great job with that. That's kind of the main goal, is to have a neighborhood pizzeria where people can reconnect, whether you grew up in that neighborhood or you are new to the neighborhood. It gives people a chance to really, and we try not to rush anybody out of that place. It's a small restaurant. We seat 49. It's very intimate. Yet anybody feels, and it should feel like they're more than welcome to be in there, whether...
I think you've absolutely accomplished that. How do you think you formulated the concepts behind Brothers Office to do things a little bit differently, and also with your staff? I'm very complimentary of how your staff operates, interacts with the customer. You must have been doing something different in terms of your training or overall culture, because you don't see what you're doing at other locations.
Yeah, I think the best answer for that would be we are very fortunate. Again, like I said, we have a great neighborhood, but our staff, whether it be experienced or new to the restaurant industry, all in itself, they have really kind of bought into the fact that we want to continue to be a neighborhood restaurant where they may see some of the educators they had, their neighbors, their good friends and family. They continue to want them to be involved, and provide a job in a restaurant. Nowadays is really hard to come by, especially when it comes down to hours, training, and wages. And so you have a constant battle of, we are unfortunately in the industry where we have a lot of people on in between, whether it's younger kids trying to go to college or continue to educate themselves. So this is a job that's kind of designed for people who are in the in-between. And so we try to incorporate that into the fact that we have a more of a flexible schedule for people to work.
To work around potentially class schedules, et cetera.
Yeah, school and family. And so that being said, too, we try to have a lot of neighborhood kids working in the restaurant as well. They know the neighborhood better than we do. We continue to learn the neighborhood every day. And get to know all of our neighbors as well. I tell a lot of people that I live there too. You know, I now live in the valley.
Well, you do probably at least 8 hours a day.
Yeah, I live in this restaurant more than I do at my house, and so at my home with my kids and my wife. So that being said, we try to include all the employees as much as we can when it comes down to training. It's a job where we really encourage people to be themselves and continue to grow and learn. The hardest part is, you want to let them be themselves, and the fact that they will establish a following of people, or they already have a great following. And these may be people who aren't very personable at first, but you get to see them really open up and, definitely get to know all their neighbors as well. As same thing I'm trying to do every day. We try to make sure that everybody's included, that we get to know who you are, who your kids, your family, your animals are.
No, you guys have done a great job at that, and I think anybody that walks through the door would agree. They feel very welcome, glad to be there, and I think you touched on this a little bit ago. You don't have a philosophy of rushing folks in and out of the restaurant. Matter of fact, it's a kind of a long-term, what else can we get you? Please stay a while. It's not here's your check for your convenience in the first 10 minutes. I think you guys have done a great job to create a culture that people come to hang out. And quite frankly, dare I say, it's like Cheers. You walk in there and you're bound to know somebody and have a great conversation. So you've also opened the new restaurant in the new Brothers office in Liberty Lake. How has that process been going to get that opened?
We're so fortunate to be in two wonderful neighborhoods. And the thing is, we're not very far from where we are in the valley. And what we try to do is, we are two small pocket restaurants, so we don't have a lot of seating in general. So what we try to do is close the gap a little bit, because we were getting quite a few people from Post Falls, Liberty Lake.
All right, that's interesting.
And so, to kind of close that gap, we're trying to expand a restaurant that you can't expand. We want to be intimate. We seat 49. Like I said, we don't rush people.
And what did you say the seating was in Liberty Lake?
65.
65.
So theoretically, we're one restaurant that seats 100.
Okay.
Or so.
Right.
Just it
on
happens to be
night.
On two different locations. Our staff is very flexible, so if you recognize somebody in the valley, you'll definitely see them in Liberty Lake. We do the best we can to cater to their needs. If they need more hours, they can work in a different restaurant.
And you and your brother started Brothers Office, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
My brother Tim, he's he has a great business background. He's hasn't worked in a restaurant until we started Brothers Office. He's done a great job.
Tim had not worked
learning.
in a restaurant. Compliments, because no one would ever know that. He seems like it's secondhand.
Yeah, so he's done a great job at just learning how to, serve tables, be more open to. I've been doing this for quite a while. I've set up a couple different restaurants myself. And I've worked in multiple restaurants, pizzerias especially. So I've been really lucky to have a little bit of experience. Just making pizza and customer service is huge to us.
Right. Maybe some perspective on what you do and don't want to do.
Yes, correct. The learning curve is definitely. I tell people all the time when we have employees and customers as well. But it's not like I worked any harder for Brothers Office now than I did when I had a job in the past. It's just that now we work for ourselves and we work for our community, and we try to bridge the gap and try to keep the community, because I think in the valley in general, what we're trying to do is convince people that if we can absolutely have a couple more eateries and neighbors around us, as such as a co-op, I think everybody can benefit. We keep the neighborhood. We continue to develop a neighborhood that people want to travel to versus leaving. I think that's kind of where we have to be because like I said, there's a lot of we have great neighbors. We're really thankful for that. But I think at the end of the day, if we could have just a couple more eateries open around us, whether it be a breakfast house or a place you can get coffee.
That's an interesting point that you bring up. There was a blog from Seth Godin actually this morning, marketer Seth Godin, that talked about raising everyone up, that it's not so much a competition amongst, you would think the restaurant down the street might be your competitor, but it isn't necessarily. It's good to raise all of those folks in a collaborative environment up and promote each of you, and really the tide rises for all of you. Let's come back and chat with you a little bit more about that and some more about Brothers Office after we take a short break. Thank you, Jimmy.
Not a problem. Thank you, Ryan, for having me.
This is Sammy Eubanks. Join me daily at 3:30 for Local Motion on SpokaneTalksOnline.com.
Saving for big goals can be intimidating, but small steps over time can really add up. If you create a basic safety net, start early, take advantage of an offered match, and prepare for the long haul, it can be done. Read or watch more about these basic tips of saving for the future at stcumoney.org.
A special thank you to our friends at Tom Sawyer Country Coffee, the official coffee supplier here at Spokane Talks Online.
Welcome back. This is Business Talks. I'm Ryan McNeese, and we're here with Jimmy Lowe of Brothers Office Pizza, both in Liberty Lake location as well as the Spokane Valley on 32nd and Sullivan. 32nd and Highway 27. Jimmy, we were just chatting about how you've really created almost the recipe of the culture, if you will, where your employees, staff, and the folks that are coming into Brothers Office, it's a different environment than I personally have seen, and I think you've done a good job to establish something different. I know in terms of, you opened, I think, 2.5 years ago?
Correct, yeah.
2.5 years goes pretty fast, doesn't it?
Yeah, it goes pretty fast.
2.5 years.
It lasts forever, right?
I remember you showing me pictures of really kind of the guerrilla push to get that open. Was that quite a process? You did a lot of hands-on to get this restaurant to opening day. Yeah,
it was a great learning opportunity, just to be able to have the experience of construction of a place that you theoretically just draw it on a napkin, and then hopefully just seeing it come to life is an amazing feat, to be honest with you.
To see something that, like you said, on the back of a napkin, it's in your head, and then to see it right in front of you.
To see it function, and to see it function the way you visualize it. You know, you think about these things all the time, but you to be able to live it every day, for me, is a great blessing. So we are, like I said, it's nice to know, though, that if something breaks, you can absolutely try to fix it.
That's right. You know, so. Well, I'm sure through the opening process, if you will, you've learned some tricks of the trade that you might not have known before.
Yeah, correct. We, it was a grind to get the place open. Definitely the city was great to work with. The permitting process was fairly seamless. All the inspections. So we were very fortunate that we had a lot of great advice.
But compliments to you. I think, a lot of business owners out there, small, medium, large, it would really resonate with them that when you're starting a business, you might not have all the resources in the world. You're starting this on passion and sincerely wanting to see if you can make this work. So I think you're a perfect example of, hey, I'm going to make this work, but I'm going to get my hands dirty, not only in the construction phase of bringing this space to opening day, but then you're the one behind the bar. You're the one out on the floor, along with your staff, of course. But you really have run the full gamut of opening a business in the process that's required to do that.
Yeah, I think the the theory behind that is to truly be a business owner operator has been a great experience. Nowadays, especially, you get behind this restaurant, we have been able to absolutely come to work every day and know that we put our best foot forward. Everybody that comes to work every day works so hard. We are very thankful for that.
Well, those are difficult hours. I mean, when are you open? When do you close?
We're open 11 till 9, usually Monday through Thursday, and then 11 to 11 on Friday and Saturday.
Okay, so you are definitely getting the lunch crowd, obviously the evening crowd, dinner crowd.
Yeah.
Okay.
So our job is to try to get prep for dinner in the Valley, and then in Liberty Lake we are establishing a lunch crowd. We have never had a phone or advertised, and so that being said, for being a restaurant that's open for 2.5 years,
that's interesting, Jimmy. I mean, that's a interesting part of your story. I mean, didn't have a phone.
No, we just we still.
How does one take an order without a phone?
Yeah,
I'm laughing only because you've had such success, and to be able to say as part of your backstory, hey, by the way, we're having a ton of success, and we don't even have a phone.
Yeah, we want people to walk in there and feel like it's the old diner where you walk in, you wait your turn. Some nights when it is busy with our limited seating, we don't want to rush anybody out the doors. And so our goal is not to answer a phone when we absolutely want to serve and help the tables that sit in front of us.
I think that part of your story really resonates with me. I think that's a big piece of your backstory, that you're so passionate about what's going on in front of you. You're not trying to multitask with what's going on the internet right now, what's going on the phone right now. Who are the 50 people that are ordering via phone? You're saying, we want you to come in the front door and enjoy this experience with the rest of the patrons.
Yeah, sit down and relax a little bit. And, if you choose to have a glass of water, that's great. Enjoy a beverage, that's fine. And our pizza is geared to be consumed right in front of you. It's a product that we feel like we use very... we take a lot of care and love in making everything that we put in front of you. So we would like to think that we produce a great product for you, a dinner, or lunch or dinner. And we want you to relax. I think, we're stuck in a day where people come in there and, we want you to get to know your neighbors or reconnect with the people that you grew up with in your community. We see that a lot now where people will reconnect because we are in a small pocket of growing community that continues to thrive, and we want to be able to contribute in the fact that we will allow you to reconnect with your friends, your neighbors, your whether it be your coworkers, and not have to worry about the hustle and bustle. And like I said, you're not everybody's. When people walk through the doors, the most promising thing to see is that nobody's on their phone.
Right.
They're talking to the table behind them. Or there's somebody at the bar, and as your night wears on, you get to meet somebody that you knew was one of your neighbors, but you never actually had a chance to talk to.
That's right.
I think it bridges the gap and it creates a neighborhood establishment.
Well, and I think another piece of your story is in any business, in your business plan, you need to look and identify who your competitors are and who your competitors are not. And I think what I've identified with you, Jimmy, is you're not trying to be Domino's Pizza. You're not trying to be Pizza Pipeline. I think what you guys have created is something special, something different, where, as you've indicated here today, you've created a community environment and culture where you are selling high-end pizzas, sandwiches, breadsticks, great drinks, etc. But I think you've also identified what you're not trying to be in the competitive market.
Yeah, correct. We have a small limited menu. When you sit down, it's very simple. And one is, if you've ever been in the restaurant, it's an open kitchen. So it keeps everybody honest. It keeps the cooks very honest, the staff very honest. It keeps the patrons. They see exactly what we're trying to do. You see how hard everybody's working to get your food to you. So whether it's busy or slow, you still get the same service. And hopefully you continue to see the same faces who recognize exactly what your likes and dislikes are.
From my experience, that's exactly what has happened. You're 2.5 years into the location on 32nd in Highway 27. You've just opened Liberty Lake fairly recently. What do you think the future holds for Brothers Office and the organization?
I really feel like we want to continue to open small pocket restaurants into neighborhoods where we feel like we can contribute to a neighborhood, versus just, being a high volume restaurant. We want to be, at the end of the day, there's a lot of different ownership groups out there doing great things with food in general and businesses, and I get that. We want to continue to contribute to a neighborhood, provide a place where people can come and feel comfortable and relaxed, and not have to rush themselves home, or even. So what we would like to do is, down the road, we want to open a couple more restaurants. We're currently working on a project right now in Vinegar Flats, which is a beautiful generational farming florist community, and I can't wait to see what that entails as that project continues to
unravel,
yeah.
I shouldn't say unravel, move forward.
Yeah.
And that name, that area has actually come up. I'm hearing that in the community, so it sounds like an interesting area.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
you think there could
part of
be
Spokane.
some opportunities there?
Yeah, correct. It's a great little neighborhood. Like I said, as we want to contribute to a neighborhood, and that would be a place where, one, it's a little bit closer to my commute to work, so that's huge. But two, it's just every time I drive through there, you get a sense of just how established this community is,
right.
And where we would like to contribute is to put a little pocket eatery in there, and hopefully people can reconnect with each other.
I think the word that comes to mind, the business word or phrase, is value added. I think that's what I'm hearing you say. That's what I've perceived by seeing your organization. In any business, there is a product, there's a service, and then there's the people that are providing that product or service. But I think Brothers Office and what you're describing is you go so much further than that. Yes, you're providing a great product. You need to do that to be successful. And the people that are doing it are doing a good job. But I think you've had that value added that we've been discussing today of something different that you're not going to get at maybe a similar restaurant in the same genre. I think that's what you're accomplishing, and that's I think the story that you're creating.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you can have as many restaurants as you like, but you really want. Why do you come to work and work so hard every day if not for your family and your community? And I think what we have the opportunity to do is continue to contribute to a neighborhood and definitely bring back a sense of a co-op versus a.
Explain that to me a little bit when you say a co-op.
Like I said, is continue to make sure that you want the neighborhood to kind of grow together. So you have a lot of really good established neighborhoods in Spokane, such as a Perry Street or Kendall Yards or Garland or Sprague. And I think what we're trying to do is definitely continue to move forward with that trend.
So almost I think we were talking about this a little bit right before the break, a co-op and a sense of collaboration.
Yes, correct.
Of different genres of restaurants, and
correct.
Yet you're all
and
trying to
not
do
just
the same
restaurants
thing.
in general, just whether it's a yoga studio or a coffee shop or a little you want people to from that neighborhood to have a sense of we are in a generation where everybody wants to have a shorter commute or be able to walk somewhere, ride their bike, and we want people to either continue to travel to this neighborhood and become a destination, or grow as a neighborhood together, so that we don't have to continue to leave our neighborhood.
Well, it's interesting to see with Brothers Office. I think you are indeed providing that piece of the puzzle, because that area of the valley probably, historically really wasn't set up to be a ride your bike to this or ride your bike to that, because it's a bit spread out. You have South Valley, you have Sprague, and the establishments on Sprague. I think that is, in fact, what you're bringing to that area is you have University High School, as you mentioned, down the street. You got Central Valley High School not far away, and the adjacent neighborhoods. By bringing that co-op, if you will, or that collaboration amongst other businesses into that area, and I think you mentioned the word pocket. I think you've created the ability for people now to be able to ride the motorcycle, or the bike. And speaking of bikes, I know you actually have the cycling.
Yes, we have
club that comes there.
we have a South Valley Cycling Club. What a great way to break up your week on Wednesday nights. They ride out in the spring, into the summer. They start out at the restaurant in the South Valley around 5, and then they'll come back and whether they choose to like I said, it's anybody's welcomed. It's
how many folks are in that group?
Anywhere between usually around 15 and about 45.
Okay.
It's
my gosh.
And then
so it's probably growing too.
Correct. And then we will incorporate a couple times a year a couple different cycling clubs from the valley as well. So it's a great way to break up your week. It's also a great way to get to know your neighbors.
Yeah. Well, yet again, it fits your model. You're bringing folks in that have
a common,
right.
They love to ride.
And you touched on this earlier, but what a great place to have a conversation, glass of wine, have a beer. You have many different beers on tap. How do you go about picking which beers are on tap? Because you have a pretty good diversity.
We have a small 10. We pour 10 rotating handles, and so what we do is we just try to do the best we can because we have a couple of different great local distributors as well as some of the bigger distributors, and so everybody gets a fair shake at what they're trying to rotate, and our job is to continue to make sure that we provide what the customers request, and so
right.
as people request certain different beverages, we will definitely try to find it, source it, and pour it. And we are so lucky that we're in the Northwest. Definitely there's a lot of great beers being produced now here locally as well.
Well, I, for one, would definitely recommend Brothers Office. And just as a bit of a laugh, as we would normally say, how can people reach out to you and contact you? As we've been talking about today, probably not by phone.
Yeah, show up and hang out. And,
the whole point of this is come out and enjoy it. And
come out and enjoy the experience. It's designed for you to come in there and definitely just kind of take it all in. And hopefully you love it, and we do the best we can to provide you a great product at a reasonable cost, as well as a great environment where you feel like you can kind of just be relaxed. Your workday may be over, or you need to relax.
Jimmy, I really appreciate you coming on the show today, and I look forward to seeing not only what happens in the Spokane Valley at Brothers Office, but Liberty Lake and potentially Vinegar Flats or beyond. Hopefully you'll come back to this table and chat with us again.
Yeah, thank you for having me. We absolutely appreciate it.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you,
Business Talks is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content. Ask a question, recommend a guest, and hear this program again online anytime at SpokaneTalksOnline.com. Business Talks is brought to you by our friends at STCU. Business Talks wishes you good business and a good day.
In study after study, money is often cited as one of the top conflict points in a marriage. Finances can be an emotional topic for couples, especially when money is tight. So it pays to get in the habit of discussing it on a regular basis, even if you keep separate finances. At stcumoney.org, find 6 tips for making the conversation easier.
Snoring can disrupt marriages and cause serious health problems. Call Sleep Better Northwest first, the experts in dental sleep medicine. Their medically approved, custom-fit oral appliances will have both you and your partner sleeping better and being more productive throughout your day. Don't wait. Snoring and sleep apnea can signal potential strokes or heart attacks. For more information, visit needbettersleepnow.com and download our health guide today. Sleep Better Northwest, the experts in dental sleep medicine.